In this video, we're going to review the Panasonic GX85 GX80 mirrorless camera, coming right up. What's up everybody? Phil with Bull City Pictures with your full review of this Panasonic Lumix GX85 GX80. I did a first look at it. I'll link to that video up here and also below. I took this on a trip to Disney, took this, and I just did a review for the Panasonic SZ70, took that as well on a trip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to the computer. We're going to look at some photos and some videos just like we did in the other review. But first I just wanted to kind of walk around the camera. This is the 12-60 lens, which it didn't come with, but I got with the G85. It makes a great addition. It does support dual IS, which is one of the features of this lens. So you have 5-axis in-body stabilization in the camera itself, and then you have the IOS, or optical image stabilization, on the lens. So if you combine this 12-60 with this body, you've got what they call dual OS. So you can see the lens. You've got your mode dial, got a control dial here, shutter release, and video record button. On the back, you've got a tilting 3-inch screen. Doesn't articulate fully, but it does tilt. That's also touch enable, like just about all Panasonics are. You've got your D-pad here and some function buttons as well. On the side, you've got your ports for HDMI and for USB, and this does charge via USB. You'll notice on the back there is a viewfinder. The viewfinder is actually pretty crisp and very, very usable. It's a range style camera, and it is interchangeable lenses, so you can change this. It comes with a 12-32, or at least the kit that I bought is a 12-32. On the bottom, you've got your battery and SD card slots. Also on the back there's another control dial, so you can control your aperture and your shutter speed with these two buttons if you're shooting in full manual mode. So again, this is the way the camera looks. It's fairly lightweight, very portable. As far as a DSLR alternative goes, it's roughly about half the size. This is a 12-60, which would be the 35mm equivalent of a 24-120. And I have that lens for my Nikon D610. It's a great lens. Mine's an f4. It's big, it's bulky, it's hard to travel with. So I'm going to take you over to the computer. I'm going to show you some of the video I took with this. It does do 4K video at 30 frames and 24 frames a second. We'll also look at some of the photographs. I'll give you a little bit of information about the photographs, the camera settings, and then we'll come back, we'll go over my pros and cons, and we'll wrap up this review of the Panasonic GX80 and GX85. And here are some of the pictures we took. We'll zoom in so that you can see this. This was from Universal, near the old Jaws attraction. Straight out of the camera. All of these are straight out of the camera, except for a couple that we're going to show right now that were edited. So this is a out of the camera shot, and I'll show you what it looks like with just a little bit of editing in Lightroom. So you can see the dynamic range. It's pretty good, able to pull up the shadows, bring down the highlights. Looks pretty good. Another one here from the side. Same thing, this is the shot straight out of the camera. Kind of a drab day, but with a little bit of Lightroom, here's what you get. So you can see again, the dynamic range is good, the colors are good. Everything looks really, really good from this. Here's one from Universal again. Just great colors. Again, photos look really, really good. I did a little street photography sitting on the bench, kind of got some shots of people walking by. It was a Harry Potter weekend, so people were dressed up in Harry Potter garb. Here's one from Festival of the Arts over at Epcot. Again, pretty good. I'm impressed with the picture quality of this particular camera. And here we are in front of Test Track, my favorite ride. Again, everything really looks good. Skin tones look good, colors look good. Here's one from the Japan Pavilion, looking out at Spaceship Earth. Colors again look good. Everything looks really good. There's a Festival of the Arts banner to give you a little bit more of a color splash. You can see the Eiffel Tower in the background. And here's one of a living statue. Again, all these except for the ones that were mentioned that were edited were out of the camera. We also did some video. This is from Frozen. 6400 ISO. It's really, really dim in this ride. I don't know if you've ever been on it, but it's pretty dim. You can see the colors do look pretty good. The focus seemed to be pretty good in low light. It did struggle a couple of times, but I think that was more because I was moving and it was trying to pick focus on different things. but this video is unedited as well, so I haven't done anything to this video. Again, the focus looks really good. A little bit there, it kind of missed. Here's one of the other scenes that I think looks really good. If you look closely, you might be able to see some grain, but it's really, really hard to notice. You have to be nitpicky to see that. Again, this is all shot at ISO 6400. And here you can see the focus did struggle a bit, but again, I think that was because I was kind of moving the camera within the boat. So you can see, again, here it will struggle a little bit as it shifts focus. But very impressed with the focus, very impressed with the low light capabilities of this camera. And then this one, there's a little bit more light in this scene, and again, it gives you an idea on how well it does in low light. And then we caught one of our favorite shows over at Epcot at the World Showcase in front of the French restaurant here. These guys are pretty funny. It's the two same performers. And this just gives you an idea on what it looks like in the daylight. This was shot at ISO 200. Note the IS here again. The image stabilization, it was set to dual, and I think the image stabilization did a great job. The video looks really good. Again, this video is completely unedited. So I'm just going to let you watch these guys. If you get a chance to see this show, it's definitely worth it. There's a schedule. I think they play maybe every hour starting sometime in the afternoon, but if you can catch the show, it's definitely worth it. And I might put a link to the full show. I think it's about a 9-minute show. I recorded the entire show, so I might add a video to my channel and put a link to the entire show, but just let you watch this for another minute or so and just, again, pay attention to the quality. I think the skin tones look good. I think everything really looks good. This one might be slightly overexposed, but that was my fault. I was shooting manual mode here. But this is completely handheld, no tripod. After 7 or 8 minutes, my hands did get a little bit tired, but you'll notice the stabilization seems rock solid, and that's definitely one of the pros of this camera, both for photos and for video. Just great image stabilization, especially with that dual IS. Now this is pretty cool to watch, especially in person. I don't think the video does this one justice, but here we go. Wait for it. So that's a look at the video. I'll take you back and we're going to list my pros and cons and wrap up this review. So those were some of the pictures that I took, some of the video that I took. Go over just the specs again really quickly. It's a 16 megapixel sensor. It does support dual IS, as I had mentioned. It does come with that 3-inch tilting screen. The viewfinder is very nice. It's 1,000,000 dots. It does 4K live cropping. All the things that you've come to know if you're a Panasonic shooter. Post-focus, time-lapse, stop motion, a bunch of different things that support Panasonic really does put a lot into their cameras as far as features go. I really like, it's also got a magnetic shutter, which is really, really smooth. I didn't notice any shutter shock. On the G85, which is another camera that I have from Panasonic, I did notice that there was some shutter shock, which means at certain shutter speeds, the picture would come out blurry just because the shutter closed so violently. It just wasn't a smooth shutter at all. This has a very, very smooth shutter with that magnetic shutter. I do like the dual IS. I think it's very good. You saw in the video how smooth that video was. It really is nice to have that 5-axis in-body stabilization as well as stabilization on the lens. Again, that magnetic shutter is really great. The 4K video to me looks really great. I did 20p video or 24p video, so you can see some of that. The battery life I think is really, really good. It is lightweight. It's portable again as a DSLR alternative. It's a great little camera to carry around with you. I carried this and that ZS60 or ZS70 in a small camera bag around Walt Disney World. The battery life seems to be pretty good as well. The cons, really, the only con that I could find is it's really not great in low light. So it is a micro 4/3 sensor, which means it's smaller than your APS-C sensor like you'd see in the Fuji or the Canons or the Nikons. So you're not going to have as much light hit the sensor. But I did find that even for the video, at least at 6400, I think the video is pretty good in low light. The photos in low lights, you know, it's not great. Plus this lens that I have is not really what they call a fast lens. 3.5 is the maximum aperture. If you get a 1.8 lens, I do have a 50 millimeter, or the equivalent of a 50 millimeter 1.7. Lets in a lot of light, therefore you can do a little better with low light. Overall, really enjoyed this camera. This is going to be probably my primary photography camera as well as video. I'm not going to use it as much if I want to do vlogging, since it doesn't have that articulating screen. So another con might be that it doesn't really have that screen articulation, but I highly recommend this camera, especially if you compare it with this 12-60 lens. It's a great lens to walk around. You can get that wide angle also up to kind of mid telephoto. Phil with Bull City Pictures. Hope you enjoyed this review of the Panasonic GX85 GX80. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you're new here or you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Click on that bell icon. If you do subscribe, you'll get notified whenever we post a new video or we go live. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you again in the next one.